Hello and welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, joined by John Townley. And this episode is sponsored by Saley, and all the information that you need is in the description down below. It's a lovely Sunday afternoon, John. Very relaxing. I've had a great morning. Lots of rain, but a good day so far. Are you having a nice Sunday? I've got a cup of tea. All's well, mate.
Yeah, my Sunday's been mainly planning for America, so that's partially what I've been doing. The weather, to be honest, don't get me wrong, it's slightly depressing, but at the same time, I couldn't cope being in my flat when it was that hot. So
No, it's much nicer in here now.
I'm happy, I'm content, and yeah, obviously I'm going to America, so it's going to be bloody hot over there. Yeah, no, I'm doing well, thanks, mate.
Good stuff. We're here today to have a bit of a chat about the Villa, but also we're doing this live on YouTube. And for the first time in years, Facebook as well. So if there's anyone out there live this Sunday afternoon who wants to get in touch with some subjects or some questions, we'll go through them today. We want to talk a little bit about pre-season, some of the Germany games, some of what's coming up, but mostly transfers, John, and the kind of, when we often say things like the transfer domino, but I've kind of tweaked that a little bit to be, how do we unlock the next phase of the window? Now, I've got phases quickly. It kind of feels like we've done the first phase of pre-season, the 2 games before the US tour, which is definitely just easing yourself back in. Very, it's just fitness.
Yeah.
Phase 2 to us is the US tour of 3 games. And then phase 3, the final phase of pre-season, is Roma at Warsaw, and then the split game in Spain and France. So that's kind of phase 3 and the final kind of part of pre-season. It kind of feels a little bit like we're in different phases of the transfer window as well, that we need things to happen for things to happen. But we're now starting to see these changes of Enzo to Benfica, the Louis Barry stuff to Sheffield United, was it? You know, these things are starting to kind of move a little bit. But you also do rely on other clubs, them moving as well. That if a Martinez is to leave, well, somebody else's goalkeeper has to leave as well. So it's very much like a kind of holding period we're in at the moment.
Yeah, I'd describe it like that as well. And as you said earlier, Dan, the different phases of pre-season, or the different phases of the summer, really, as you say, it's it's exciting that the players return at the start of this month. It quickly became quite, I don't know, like the Warsaw game and Hansa Rostock, it meant nothing, and nothing more than just fitness for some players, senior players, and good experiences, I think, for the youngsters as well. We won't go too much into the Hansa game, but for those who saw it, obviously, learning curves for some younger players who are 17, 18 years of age. And as I mentioned in a previous podcast we did, were the best age group under 18s in the country last season. So, never going to be too critical in that sense whatsoever. It's their pre-season as well, so they're getting back up to speed too. So, all in all, it ticks the box of what we were trying to do. We came through with no injuries apart from Joe Gacho as well. So, going on to America now. We are approaching the start of August too, so new signings needed. But as you said there, Dan, that also means players need to leave, and players have started to leave, shall I say. Brenna Chaya, Barry to Sheffield United shortly, Kane Kessler, other lads as well. So Villa are now in a position where we're getting to the point where I can understand if fans are going to start to get worried, shall I say, and if in the next 2 weeks we're still no closer to getting players through the door. And I say players because it's not like we just need a right back or whatever it may be. It's, for me, 4 or 5 positions that we need to strengthen. And again, you'd like to think that if we can make that sale that we need to, that I'm not scared about, that, as you say, unlocks the summer and allows us to continue to build in this summer window.
Yeah. Just on the Rosstock game quickly, I've seen Max Stokes was out there doing his vlog, which I've not got round to yet, but seemed like a good trip more so than a good match, which is often the case with these kind of things. Do you want to just have the floor for a minute or two and just round off that game, that first phase of pre-season, and we'll all move on?
Yeah, sure. So Hansa Rostock invited Villa to go over, similar to when we played, I remember the team now, Spartak Trnava last summer. I forgot the team last pod. I think we won that 3-0. This one we lose 3-1, but it doesn't work like this because wins and losses don't matter. But we were winning until Emery made, I think, 6 changes. Played a very youthful team in the last 30 minutes. Describe
it as like the game ended with a combined squad numbers of over 100 or something. It's a nice way of putting it, actually. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Bellegarde was the most experienced player on the pitch, and that's not an experienced player. So that just about sums it up. Ramsey took his goal really well, which is great to see. He obviously got 1 league goal last season. So for him, again, just in pre-season to get a bit of confidence, a bit of form. Again, if he remains a Villa player, that's great to see. Good for him as well to see those moments. But yeah, mistake by TJ Carroll, which was something that he'll be kicking himself and he'll be gutted about, because I mentioned in the previous podcast how Mings was barking at him all game. Don't overplay, keep your head, do simple things, and then he lingers on the ball and is robbed. David Hummel. It's probably not how you say his name, David Hummel, but was twice. One was a late goal, and that was to make it 3-1. 2-1 was 85th minute goal from Max Kraus, I think his name was, from Rosstock, which was again like a moment where Villa, the youngsters will learn. I think Tristan Rowe probably felt he probably should have done better, showing him inside to his right, and then scored from distance. Philip Marshall, I haven't really seen the goal more than once, so don't know if he could have done better, but it was a good finish. Yeah, like
whatever.
It doesn't matter, but that's my recap of the game.
Yeah, that'll do. Let's move on. Let's go through a couple of comments. Varna Horror says, happy Sunday, fun day, fellas. So thank you very much. Zanas says, no PSR today, please. I mean, there might be a little bit of it, but the first person to say PSR, and this doesn't count, has to help Matt wash his legs. No, thank you. Engine 9 says, yes, boys, enjoy USA. John, give us a wave. Hello. How are you doing?
Ian I think he meant in the USA.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, good. Ian says, I'll tell my great-great-grandfather this is on Facebook, which is maybe fair enough. Thank you. Danny says, nice top, Dan. Wink emoji. Wink, you know where to go if you want one. Good afternoon, all from the Black Country Villain. And Gary, I don't mean to be that guy. Such a damp squid so far. Squib is the actual word. Surely new signings for the US tour. That is the general consensus. I feel a lot of people that I speak to are still a bit like about Villa, the way the season ended, the lack of signings so far, the lack of movement, losing the first 2 pre-season games. It all just feels a bit like, oh, this is a bit. Newcastle lost to Celtic 4-0 yesterday, or Saturday, or Friday, whenever it was. Yeah. Does that matter as well? No, not at all. Birmingham City played 2 games at the same time yesterday and lost both. Yeah, could be worse. Again, that doesn't matter either. But I do get no. Oh yeah, that does. I do get that sense that there is that feeling of like this is all just.
Yeah,
I'm not ready for the season to come back. Yet. Villa don't feel ready, and it just feels a bit like we all need. This isn't going to happen. Here's Marcus Rashford. We've announced something like, you know what I mean? It needs that massive lift.
I was chopping some red onions earlier, and what I was thinking about was how bad I felt when we obviously lost on the final day of the season, and for even, I don't know, was it 20 minutes or something? We were in 5th, and it was in our hands, and it was like, I know. Is this actually going to happen? And then it was taken away from us. So there was so much to be depressed about on that day and after that day, and in the weeks that followed. I don't know, man, but now I look at it and I think, you know what, though? Next season, we do have a great chance to win silverware, which would then put us back in the Champions League. Like, I'm all right. I'm doing fine. Like, the season that's coming is still a great opportunity for us. There's a lot of pressure on it, but that, for me, makes it exciting. It's not just, for example, if we were in the Conference League, we're looking forward to winning a trophy. Because for me, it would be, yeah, okay, but that will happen in May, if it happens. The Europa League is a bit of a journey. We know we go for 2 rewards and 2 prizes there, and I know a lot. And this is the case of with me. Sorry, the trophy is the prize. But don't get me wrong, it's also a massive benefit because we know that we need to get back in the Champions League. This is why. This is what we're playing for. It's silverware, but the Champions League is as important, I think, for the club, or maybe even more important, to be honest, in the project. That we're on, and the project that's definitely still, going ahead and is still in line. That's why, the proof is that if a Kamara, for example, wants to commit his future and is willing to do so now, and there's going to be a breakthrough in contract talks, then that in itself shows that we're still on the right lines. But if you don't get Champions League twice, then all of a sudden, I don't think you can kind of stop those players from looking elsewhere. But the fact that we are potentially only going to I don't want to say one big sale, but one player who you don't ordinarily want to lose, be it a Martinez or Ramsey, I don't know, whoever it may be. You don't want to lose them, but you need to make money if you want to spend X amount, which Villa do at this stage, and obviously need to reduce the wage bill. But I've kind of describing why Champions League is important, but also like it's not as if we're stripping away 5 or 6 of our top players. Again, we're doing that by selling Bernachea and other lads on the fringes and reducing wages that way, terminating Coutinho's contract. We have a plan that makes sense, and next season, like we're still alive. The project is alive. We're still going to be good. We're still going to compete for the top 5, I believe. We're still going to be a great bet to win the Europa League. We just have to do it. If we didn't do any of those things, the following season, that's when I would be questioning, what players are we really going to keep now? Like, how are we going to get back up there? Because Newcastle may be another season along, Chelsea too. I know those are the teams. So we've done so well to get up to where we are. We now need to kind of take that sort of hit that we did last season and go again. And I definitely think we can. So that's why I'm like not as maybe negative as what some people are, but I absolutely understand those feelings of like, we haven't even signed anyone that's going to be in the first 11 yet.
There's a lot of these. There's one here, but I've seen this a lot across different social media profiles from George, who just says we're going to lose all of our players. We won't.
Well,
we might lose a couple that we don't want to lose, like you just said. Do any of us really want to sell Martinez? Like we can't wait to get rid of him. Of course not.
No.
But there are going to be some players that have to leave because a lot of the flip side of it of like, when are we signing somebody? What's going on here? You need those things to happen. Somebody does need to leave, and it's not necessarily a thing of like Villa cannot do anything until somebody goes. But it's almost like, well, you don't do anything until somebody goes because things can change so quickly. If Villa are kind of betting, okay, well, when Martinez goes, we can now spend 50 million, right? Just as an example. But we'll spend the 50 million now. But if Martinez doesn't go, you then have a 50 million hole that you cannot make up. So it would be unwise to do something. It's not that Villa can't do, it's just that they probably won't do until there's some movement somewhere. So for me, and I will say this all the way through until the end of the transfer window or the start of the season, the kind of panic over, oh no, our squad is worse, we're going to be worse next season, I just can't get on board with it because I think we'll make signings by the time the season rolls around, and certainly before the deadline. I know that will happen. It's just a case of being patient. Ultimately, I think you said a few weeks ago that really Villa's window only opened from, was it like the 5th of July or something? It was like after the PSR deadline, after the Club World Cup kind of first bit ended. Like our window's really only open now. That's only like 10, 15 days ago. It's still very early for things to actually have progressed. And I think, again, it's what we spoke about on the previous episode about we know too much about just football everywhere that you see other people signing stuff and you think, well, if they're doing it, why aren't we doing stuff? But it doesn't really correlate like that.
You could possibly flip it another way and say, would we rather be happier as we are now, having not sold? And again, a Martinez and Ramsey will make a sale that is planned. Whoever it is, we'll find out. It depends what bids come in, etc., etc. But would you rather be in the position where we are now, July 20, having not sold a star player, and with the knowledge that maybe one goes? Or would you have rather sold 4, let's say Kamara, Martinez, Watkins, or maybe just those 3, and you've already replaced them? What would you rather have? I would much prefer what we're doing now. I'd much prefer that because
it's the same when you compare what other clubs have done as well.
What risk have we taken? What risks have we taken so far in the window? None. Yeah. I'm okay with that because we know our squad. Yes, it needs adding to, and as you said there, Dan, we are going to do that. We're not going to go into the new season with a squad that doesn't make 25, or in our Europa League team that only hits 18 places out of 25, or whatever it might, or even lower. Those things will happen. Like, I'm okay with where we are now. We know the reasons why we haven't splashed £60 million.
Yeah, because we're not playing competitive games yet, so I'm not bothered.
Well, that and you're pushing yourself into a corner where you've spent all this money. People know that you can't spend it without selling. If you've spent 60 million without selling anyone, your negotiating power is very low then.
Yeah.
Teams know you have to sell. You either sell now in January and before June 30. So Villa, like they don't have their Champions League money now. They've sold the women's team. They plan to do something similar with the warehouse. Like there's plans in place to kind of skirt around PSR or deal with it, shall I say, UEFA SCR is damn it, I've got to wash Matt's legs now, haven't I?
Look at
UEFA SCR is the
mad who
bigger...
people have only just joined late, by the
way. Yeah, that's the bigger issue. But again, none of this I see as like a major stumbling block to Villa competing for what they want to compete for.
Yeah,
in the long term. I just go back to what I said earlier. I just think if Villa had sold 3 players and we've now got £100 million to play with, but you've got to replace 15 to 20 goals in Watkins. Okay, so that's what a £50 million wedge. A Kamara or Martinez. Like all of a sudden, well, there's your budget gone, and you've spent it on players who you hope to replace your best players, which is never easy.
Yeah. There's a comment earlier from Danny, which I completely agree with. And maybe some of the specifics might change depending on who you are. But he said, on a brighter note, I would take Villa keeping Rodgers over all of the signings our rivals have made. And this Cunha and Kudus as examples. And Kudus is a good player, to be fair, and Cunha is. But again, there is some kind of merit in that. Yes, our rivals or clubs in the Premier League have signed other good players. But we already had good players and we've still got them. And there is some merit to that's a good thing that you've been able to keep that just because Chelsea or whoever have signed X and we've missed out on X. Well, firstly, we don't know if Villa were ever in for them anyway. And maybe who we've got, we judge as being better than who they've signed anyway. And this isn't I'm defending the club for doing no business. Villa have done no business yet is the key word. Yeah. If we go to September 1st and we've sold Martinez and Bailey and we bought in one loanee, panic then, because that's probably going to be bad. That probably will not be able to see us through to even January without really falling off. Yeah. If we've sold Martinez and Bailey but bought in Chevalier and Bowen from West Ham, for example, plus a couple of loanees, it's like, actually, that's arguably better than what we had before. Maybe we'll hit the ground running. It's way too early to panic over Villa are going to have a bad season because they've not signed anybody on July 20th.
And the other thing I would add to it as well, if Villa could spend £60 million on Mbeumo or £50 million on Kudus or whatever, they would. Trust me. Like, they want to spend money. They want to fulfill those ambitions. So, like, while I understand this criticism sometimes for why haven't we signed anyone, like, we want to, but we can't. Like, I'm not going to always blame rules and blame restrictions on us, and fans won't do that as well because it's part of football that, it's always got to be someone's fault, hasn't it? But at the same time, you're asking someone to do something that they can't do. We can't spend £50 million on a player unless you want to sell our star players and then replace them. But again, I don't see much logic in that. I understand if you get a huge bid for Watkins and you have that replacement lined up. But as far as we can tell, neither of those things have happened. Same for Martinez. Again, there's been no concrete interest. Sorry, no contact, for Martinez from another club. Obviously, Saudi went from very early on and he doesn't want to go there. Don't believe that will be changing. Man United now appears to be pushing for the Belgium keeper Lamens, and we all know that Martinez would be an expensive option for any club wanting a goalkeeper, considering he's going to be 33 in literally space of a couple of months. So that's what we're dealing with at the moment. If we get to the Newcastle game and we still haven't signed anyone, all right, we can beat Newcastle with the squad we have and have a strong bench and have a strong 11. We can do that. I said this before. We could do it as well against Brentford and against Palace. But of course, before the deadline, you want to have a much richer team. So that's why I'm not going to be panicking. And we will. I'm not going to be panicking until the last few weeks of the window, shall I say. And that's, less than a month away now. But Villa will have they will have the players or the positions that they want to fill. They will fill them. But it was never going to be as easy as, okay, that will happen in the first couple of weeks. And it will all be done before USA. Don't get me wrong. I think ideally it would have been done, or most of it would have been done by now. But it feels like it's essentially out of Villa's hands in a way, because again, they have to make that sale. But equally, they can't just be selling players for £20 million just to make space and, hurry up time and get players through the door. They have to be clever. And that's it really.
This is the last thing on this kind of line of topics from Mick, who says there's a benefit in an unchanged team. Familiarity breeds confidence, and it absolutely does. Yep. But this team does need help. It does need help with a couple of additions, and as we said a few times, we believe we'll get that. There's a comment I was going to go to, then I've missed it now. Kamara from Anthony. If Kamara signs a new deal, it will be better than most signings, which again, I believe there's some merit in keeping hold of your best players that could go and play for pretty much anyone in the Premier League, I think, someone like Kamara. keeping hold of those, even if it's a release clause and he goes next year, or whatever it is, read into the conspiracy theories however you like, whatever. There's not much to get excited over with contracts these days because players still can leave. If he signs a 5-year deal, that does not mean he's here for the next 5 years. That's plainly obvious to everybody.
Protects the value,
yeah. Do you read anything into that offering of a contract, depending on what we can do with the rest of the business? Again, when we talk about kind of unlocking the window, Kamara's not going to be offered less money on that contract and will already be a good earner as he signed on a free transfer. So if he's getting a wage increase to X, does that mean that, things are happening in the background because we can only afford to offer him that because stuff is happening? Does that make sense?
Again, the wage bill is the biggest issue that Villa face. But as we said in a previous video, you have to also leave wiggle room for improving contracts, don't you? So Kamara's will be factored into that. Again, Rodgers, if he scores 5 goals in his first 6 games, a new deal is going to be after given to him as well. Because when he signed his new contract at pretty much the first couple of months of last season, like he was just showing that he was, he's improved a lot again in the last space of, 4 months, pre-season onwards. Like he's got a lot. If he does it again, okay, so now he's at England international, he's going to be potentially a star at the World Cup. Like he needs to be the highest earner or joint highest earner, which obviously he won't be at the moment. So that you need space for that too. I wouldn't say that's kind of like wheels are in motion. We're going to now be selling players because those things are going to happen anyway without the Kamara stuff. The Kamara contract saga has started back in, where are we? April. So it's been going on for a long time. Talks have happened over that period, and now, now that Villa are encouraged that they can get that over the line, that's fantastic news. And I think I said did a little comment piece on it, and essentially saying that could be the best piece of business Villa do, and it relates to what I said earlier about it's not new and it's not. I mean, it is shiny. Kamara is shiny in my eyes and many Villa fans' eyes as well, but just because you haven't sold him for 50 million and replaced him with a player who is worth 60 or something, or again, like Watkins, sell him for 45 and bring in Samu for 50. Okay, but that's now a big risk because you don't know if he's going to get 15 goals. You don't know if Kamara's replacement is going to be as good. The likelihood is that it probably won't be for one season. So that's why I'm fine with keeping the strong players we have. And like the Luis situation a couple of years ago when we sold him and then improved, you don't want it to happen, but it's just the natural cycle. Don't sell Rodgers.
Flip side of that you make the risk of selling Grealish, and we didn't replace him well. We didn't spend that money well at all.
True, but different period of time and different player. True. He was so integral. We built the team around. If you lose him, that was that.
Different structure as well, Brian, at the club.
Yeah, but it's still a relevant point. So if you keep Rodgers, keep Kamara, keep Konsa, keep Watkins in my, he's as important as those players for me. But sell off a player who you think that you can replace and still, compete for what you want to achieve next season. That's their plan. And for me, that is the way to go. What happens next summer? That's another story altogether. That completely depends again, or partially depends, on what we achieve next season. But we have to kind of live quite short term at the moment. What's going to happen in the next, 5 weeks or so of the window remaining now. So, things will be moving from now on.
The comment here from Chris, which kind of feels a little bit like we're trying to see the best of a bad situation in terms of not signing players. But he says, Marlon is as good as a new signing, plus a Nana's second season uplift amongst others like Maatsen, etc. I do agree with that. And again, this isn't me kind of sticking up for the club who haven't done anything yet. It's that we've signed players that we've not really seen much of yet. And if we do see more of them next year, if Maatsen plays all the league games because Luca Dean leaves or whatever, and he's brilliant, and it's like, okay, we already had his replacement anyway. We didn't have to spend any money. If a Nana steps in and can keep himself fit and he plays lots of games and chips in with, 6 or 7 goals or something, and that's more than he did last year. And Marlon is the key example, somebody who barely played at all, really. If he has kind of breakthrough season this year, it's almost like it sounds stupid because we signed 2 of them last summer and 1 in January. It's almost like we've done business for the future ahead of time. So I'm not saying if we don't sign anyone, it's like, it's all right, because we've already got a Nana and Marlon because we had them anyway. But you know what I mean? Like we didn't see enough from them. So if they do kind of raise their levels, which is absolutely possible and probably likely, that already puts Villa in a better position as well.
Yeah, and to kind of add to that, I think a lot of times when teams don't sign players or sign many of them, or when we have conversations, or other clubs have conversations about, they haven't signed anyone though, and the team needs replenishing. Like we spoke about Man City previously, or other teams, like other iterations of squads that were like really successful, but clearly there was a need to bring in another, different positions or whatever it may be. I don't feel like that with Villa because, as you said, they're done. Well, Marlon feels like a new signing, and kind of is. He's only been here for the space of a few months. Anana, Matson have been here for 1 year and clearly have a lot of upside, as you say. I feel that, and you don't need to replace Kamara, obviously. You don't need to replace Tielemans. Again, obviously, player of the season. McGinn, for me, doesn't need replacing. Is absolutely a strong player in the squad still. Rodgers, obviously. Ramsey, we can have different conversations about Ramsey, but still, if he's in the team, that's a strong player to have as long as there's competition. Where my issue lies with it all is that we need depth. Depth is so important. We saw it last season. And again, that's kind of straying into different elements here. But ultimately, if you haven't made a signing yet, that for me is only a bad thing if there are clear holes in the squad. The midfield is completely stacked. We have a striker who's going to get 15 goals. We have a defence, which the left-back department is probably one of the best in the league. The right-backs, there's two of them that for me are a relatively similar level. Again, could be improved on, but that's the right back department that finished sixth last season, fourth the year before, right? Mm-hmm. The goalkeeper, again, question mark over that position, but as we spoke about earlier, that isn't because Martinez has to be changed because he's not good enough. It's he may go, and if he does, we'll bring in a goalkeeper who we think is as possibly good as we can get for a decent price. We're not going to sell Martinez for 35, 40 million pounds and replace him with 10 million pound goalkeeper from the Championship. That won't be happening. Unless it's an insane deal like the Morgan Rogers one, but you get where I'm going with it. I just feel like our squad will be strong still next season.
Yeah.
We just don't know exactly how it will look, and we know that again because we're not selling 4 of our top players. That's not happening.
Yeah. I've already highlighted 5 or 6 comments that we're going to do and wrap up because we've wanted to do half an hour. So these next few questions will see us well past that, but I will keep an eye on the live feed as well. John says, do you honestly think we will win the Europa League or is it just hope?
No, we have to win Europe. There's no, said this, I don't know, a week after the season finished. It's a failure if you don't win the Europa League. It really is. We're better or can be better than all of those teams. You just have to prove it.
What if we win the Premier League?
What was that? Wait, what?
If we don't win the Europa League, it's a failure. But if we won the league at the same time, it wouldn't be a failure then.
Oh no! I'm not talking about the whole set. I'm just talking about the Europa League. That would be a failure. Not winning the Europa League is a failure. There's no passage where I don't know quarterfinal against Roma. Well, if we got knocked out to Roma in the quarterfinal, would that be a failure? Yeah, of course it would, because we can beat Roma over 2 legs.
Well, we'll find out if we can beat Roma in a couple of weeks.
Porto have changed the manager, but have been poor for a couple of seasons now. And
I think the Europa League's quite strong this year, you know.
Oh, no, it's strong, but we're Aston Villa. We have a top team
as
well.
Yeah.
And therefore, back it up now. We've had 2, and I know you agree with this, so I'm not telling you, but 2.5 years of Emery now, a manager who's won 4 Europa Leagues. Let's not kind of beat around the bush here and kind of play the underdogs. No, forget that. We lost 1 game at home last season in the league to an Arsenal side who we probably should have at least avoided defeat to in that match. Yeah. So we have a fortress of Villa Park. If you finish higher in the league phase, you're guaranteed round of 16, quarterfinals, home in the second leg. Okay, well, that's a massive advantage for us. Semi-final, second leg at home. If you finish first or second, we can definitely do that. So let's not talk about us being in a position where maybe we aren't favourites of the Europa League. Favourites or not, we have to have the attitude and personality to go out there and prove that we are worthy winners of the Europa League and get back in the Champions League. For me, it's the that's what makes me excited for next season. Just knowing that we can do it. Whether we do it or not is another thing, but we absolutely can. And if we go into it thinking anything otherwise, yeah, respect your opponent, but we have all the materials, we have everything we need, all the ingredients to do it.
Yeah, I agree. It just feels a little bit, again, going off the mood of how things feel at the moment, just to be like, yeah, win the Europa League. It doesn't chime with me, right? That is like, oh yeah, let's just go and do it. I want us to, and I think we can, absolutely. But I do feel that pressure a little bit. That's a big ask still, I think.
we're never going to get anywhere as a club if we feel pressured.
No, I agree.
As
I agree.
we saw again, as we saw against Palace, different against Olympiacos because we were knackered. Like we needed that season to end a few weeks before than what it did, but that gave us a lesson in terms of where you need a bigger squad last season as well. We've gone through all of the experiences now, really, and here it is. It's a trophy that Emery's won 4 times, 3 times in a row with one club. So you have to win that competition. It's a failure if you don't. Simple for me.
Okay. Johnny says a revamp is needed. Some players are not good enough. We aren't winning the Europa League with Unai. He's too defensive.
Fair play. Like you have that opinion. As I say, Emery's won the competition so many times and has such a successful record in European competitions that I presume that defensive style is the reason why. We concede a lot of goals, though. That's all I would say. So, yeah, I get it. But for me, no, I have to disagree. Our squad, if we're paying the wage that we're paying, the quality that we have, again, we'll have to add to it and add depth. But as soon as we do, that first 11 or even first 15, if that makes sense, should be strong enough.
John says, what's going on with Rodgers? There's a lot of people talking about Chelsea and £80 million bids and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you know anything? Oh, he's takes a sip of water.
Chelsea.
Question.
Sorry. Chelsea love Rodgers. They do. When this comes up in the media, I do see it quite a lot. And yeah, it's fine. Villa fans kind of shutting it down as everyone's trying to sell Rodgers to Chelsea. It's not that. It's true. Chelsea love the player. Arsenal obviously have an interest as well. As far as I'm aware, as of right now that we're recording this, nothing has been presented to Villa from Chelsea. But I mean, firstly, that we know that, but then secondly, it also wouldn't take a genius to work that out anyway, because Chelsea love to, I don't want to say stockpile youngsters, but that's certainly their model.
Sounds about
Rodgers,
right.
Yeah, it does sound about right, to be fair. Rodgers is obviously a player that fits their recruitment policy. And that's all well and good. Load up FIFA manager if you need to and sign him on there, because Villa don't want to sell. But that always also comes with a caveat of every player has their price. And that price would be huge for Rodgers. Don't get me wrong, absolutely huge. To a point where even Chelsea would probably think, actually, maybe it's not worth us doing that yet.
Same as Newcastle, Isaac, isn't it? Of course, Newcastle don't want to sell Isaac, but if Liverpool go, here's 145 million, you go, okay. At some point, you have to say yes.
Yeah. And again, like it's like it's not like buying a house, so it's a crap analogy. But the point being, like, what are you happy to offload him for? Like, at what point do you say, actually, you know what, that money would be useful to reinvest here, and here, and would make us better as a team? I was trying to think of the other way of what would you be happy to lose it for, but it's the other way. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, that's the situation with Rodgers. Chelsea love him and would not be shocked if they came in for some bid at some stage. To be honest, I'm surprised they haven't already, but they've had other positions that they're looking at as well. But they appear to have a limited revenue. They're finding loopholes. It's not a loophole to win the Club World Cup, but that generates an obscene amount of money. The deal that they pulled off for João Pedro was essentially paid back in the space of one match out in America. So yeah, we'll see what happens on that front. But equally, it's not fake news that clubs like Rodgers, clubs like all the Villa players, are they going to all leave? Nope, that's not how it's going to happen. So I wouldn't worry about the situation at all.
No, me neither. Okay, last couple then from Gary. Is the black away top already jinxed? Now, I don't really believe in jinxed, but we haven't won a game in it yet. It's not good, is it?
I really don't like it. I really don't. There's no. We said on the previous episode, didn't we? We're gonna have to go on some mammoth run away from home here to change people's minds, because
maybe we'll lose every game away from home except Newcastle, Palace, Wolves. Like, we'll do the opposite. We'll finally win those games, and it'll be a reverse jinx.
We won't be wearing the black. Oh, actually.
Well, we won't wear black at Newcastle.
And we won't wear the third, either. So it'll have to be a home
we wear home at Newcastle. We'll wear black at Palace. If we finally beat Palace away from home, the black shirt jinx is lifted.
Yeah. Love the shirt then, to be fair, but won't happen, will it? In the real world, done.
Yeah, who am I? Phil says, sell Watkins. Wrong side of 30 soon, and his value will decrease. Can replace him with Sesko or Osherman.
Oh, I don't think that'll be happening.
No, I don't either. Firstly, I don't think we'll sell Watkins by choice, as in we don't like him anymore, get rid yet. That may happen at some stage, but not this summer. And somebody I think has to pay a lot of money that I don't think any club probably would pay again this summer. I think you'd already start to see noise about it if it was going to happen in the next few weeks. Again, things do happen out of nowhere sometimes, but at this stage, again, without knowing anything apart from speaking to you off air, and that's not, I've massively set you up there as if you've told me something. You haven't. But what I'm saying is, like, I'd be surprised if we sold Watkins this window.
Again, anything depends on, everything depends on what bids are tabled for which players. So, not suggesting that it's off the table or that it will happen. It's neither. I just feel like for Villa, what is the cost of losing Watkins? It's not for me. Just let's call it right. What do we want to say? 45 million. Should we say?
I'd 50. Yeah.
All right. Let's say we sold him for that. The striker you bring in has to be worth around that as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, the book value, great for Watkins. Has been here for some time now. But I can't. Again, considering that Villa don't have to sell 3 or 4 of their star players, Watkins wouldn't be in my top 4 players to sell, if that makes sense. You'd probably have Ramsey in there. You'd probably have.
That's interesting. Like, who would you rather? Who you are happy to get rid of?
If on a list of who do you? Yeah, like if you had to make more than £30 million, let's just say that. What's your? And I'm not going to go through them, but Watkins wouldn't be anywhere near the top for me.
I agree.
Because if you have to sell other players, if you have to, raise X amount of funds, the last thing I would do would be to sell a goal scorer because it's the hardest thing to replace. And again, who's on the market that you can? And I see a lot of people say Samu. It's a completely different striker to Watkins for a start. Secondly, unproven. He's had one good season for Porto because he's been there for 1 season. So yeah, like technically that's quite harsh. But apart from that, he's a good player. But I'd rather keep Watkins because you could make that money elsewhere. So those are my.
I think if you flip that, because to me Watkins is again, I don't need to caveat this, but if Arsenal bid 100 million for Watkins, I would sell him. Obviously, it'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
But normal bids, 40, 50, I don't know, 50 for Ramsey, whatever it is. I think of the players that I would consider untouchable would be Rodgers, Tielemans, Kamara, Konsa, and Watkins would be my 5.
I think that's what I would say as well. And then you've still
I would sell almost anybody before you even consider any of those.
People will be screaming at the TV, iPad, phone, or whatever you're watching this on. Martinez, why would you sell Martinez? It's only different for me because he is turning 33 and his value will plummet. Like, you're not getting anywhere near
12 months ago, Martinez would have been in that list.
Yeah. So I would sell him I would sell him before that group of players. And
probably be the next one in an ideal world. It'd be around that area.
And again, this isn't us. We don't want to sell anyone, but we're just playing the game that is the reality game. That Villa need to make some money and need to make space for players, etc., reduce wage.
I wonder if you could actually put the squad in order from top to bottom of who you'd be happy to sell. I wonder if that's a separate it would be a bit
of a depressing one, but yeah.
Depressing for whoever's at the top of the list, isn't it? Yeah, you can go back.
yeah. But that's my thing on Watkins. He's in that group that I just think we don't even risk it. With Martinez, again, he would be there, but he's kind of falling out of it because of the age. And again, the money is good for what would be a 33-year-old still. If you sold him next summer and he's nearly going to be 34, I don't even think it's worth selling him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I am with Watkins. The money they would get for Watkins, is it worth selling him for? Is it worth selling Martinez for 40 million? Possibly so, because you can bring in that replacement, maybe Chevalier, for a similar fee. Like, that's how I would view it. If you don't sell Martinez this summer, I wouldn't bother selling him again. Because unless, of course, he wants to leave when he's 35 and whatever, but you're not getting a big a big fee for him, are you? All you're doing is reducing wage, which is important, but you can do that by selling 5 players instead of him.
I would like Actually, is this even possible? What was the goal record Watkins got? Did he get to 75 or 76?
75.
75. I was going to suggest could he break 100 this season, but that'll take his best season yet.
Well, that's his plan.
Unlikely.
That's his plan. He said that. He told us that after the Bournemouth game that 100 is his target now, and that he knows
Villa or Premier League goals.
Well, yeah, like Premier. Well, it's both, I suppose. But he did say he did say he wants to get to the 100 club, and that he knows he can do it in one season. So yeah, of course, it would be like an incredible campaign for him. Yeah. I think it'd probably take him 2, if in all honesty.
Yes, I do.
He went from 19 to what was it last season? Was it 16? I think
15 or 16.
Pretty sure it was 16. So yeah, if he's giving that sort of return again, he won't be breaking it. But that for me is worth however X amount of millions of pounds, because that's your top scorer right there. So
I mean, if he did do it in one season, it is what we spoke about a few weeks ago, that we're saying you probably, let's say again, we said 50 before, let's stick with that. You're not going to get 50 again. Well, if he scored 25 Premier League goals this coming season, he probably would get 50 next year as well, even though he's a year older and his contract's a year down. That would be his best season yet in the Premier League. I'm
just going to rapidly double check how many goal involvements Watkins has got in the last 2 seasons for Villa. So, God, this is dead air, isn't it? It's got to be podcasting, John.
It's got to be 50 plus.
I think it's something like 71. But I just wanted to check.
Christ.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure I did this the other day.
Is that all? That must be all competitions.
All comps. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're Champions League in that.
Actually, what am I talking about? 50, of course. The one season was it 19 goals and 11 or 12 assists or something? Double figures in both, wasn't it? When he won the Playmaker award thing.
I was close. So in 107 games for Villa, which is a huge thing in itself, right? In 2 years, to get 107 appearances, very durable. 107 games, 73 goal contributions. So that's an insane record. You don't replace that for me with a player who's worth £40 million or what? To me, that doesn't happen. So yeah, that's why Watkins is in my untouchables.
Yeah. Okay, a couple more very quickly. Matt Payne asks, do you guys think we could actually sign Garnacho? Now, Garnacho is a really interesting one for me, because I've kind of got the same reaction to him that I did for Rashford in January. Like I don't know if I'd really fancy that. Like, he's not my kind of player or my kind of personality based off the things that you see, which is probably not a fair way of judging him. However, I was unsure about Rashford, and then I was pretty impressed with him and his spell here. I've seen a few people suggesting like, he's going to Barca, we've missed out. Fine, whatever. Like he wanted to go there in the first place.
Wanted to go there anyway.
Yeah. We knew he wasn't going to come back at least. Non-plus, don't care. Garnacho, I don't know. I kind of flip between thinking, I'm not really sure, and then I think, well, Emery probably could unlock something, and unlock is a theme of this podcast, and get something out of him. And still, obviously, very young, wouldn't be on massive amounts of money. I wouldn't have thought there was something to that kind of is a bit appealing, but I still kind of fighting myself with like, is it good though? It's not someone better. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd be really intrigued by this. It's definitely something that I would like to see happen, to be perfectly honest with you. But as I said in the previous episode, how that deal would work and what United would want, and how maybe Martinez would be involved or whatever, like that is something that I can't get my head around. So it would definitely depend on that. What are we getting him? What would we get him for, or how would it work? Maybe it would be a loan with a clause. I have no idea. But if you said Garnacho will be playing for you next season, I think he's a fantastic talent. And again, what I would feel towards it is made 10 times more exciting, shall I say, knowing that we have Unai Emery taking control of his future. If we had, I don't know, even like,
under Gerrard, I'd be like,
even honestly, even someone respectable like a Thomas Frank or Marco Silva or something, who are good managers in their right. If you gave them Garnacho, I think you'd do well. But Unai Emery's different kettle of fish, and you see what he does with a player like Rashford, who was really like kind of cast aside by almost everybody when he joined us as a player who, he's just not good enough. His attitude stinks. He can't run. He can't do anything. Like, how is he even professional anymore? To a player who everyone looks at and thinks, he could have just torn PSG a new one. Like, this is a reality of working with Unai Emery. So to have a player who, when he first broke through at United, was one of the most exciting young players in world football. Yeah, those things are still true, and he still has that ability. If you see some of the goals that he scored I don't know, maybe because we're Villa fans, and why would you watch Man United highlights? The goal he scored against Brentford last year was phenomenal. The overhead kick he scored against Everton at Goodison, like for his age, is a lot of quality there. So it would definitely be something I'd be interested in. Again, depending on what it looks like. Would I rather spend in other areas of the pitch? That depends on different things, but we definitely need maybe a couple of wingers, to be perfectly honest with you. So yeah, I'd be interested for sure.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll obviously talk about that more if it develops. If it doesn't, then I'm not going to waste our time talking about ifs, buts, and maybes. Final point from Adam to end this bumper episode. Now I wanted to do half an hour in 45 minutes. Adam says, it feels like we've already been written off in the media. We're no longer in the top 6 conversation. Now,
I'm not writing this off.
No, well, yeah, our media isn't, but the nationals, I suppose, maybe are, Sky Sports News, etc., etc. The thing with that for me is 2 things. One, if you listen to some of the comments on this episode and across social media, we've written ourselves off. Villa fans are writing ourselves off of, it's going to be a difficult season and etc. But also, it's the side of things that we're not sexy, really. It's not going to get you clicks, is it, to say Villa might finish 8th this year and might win the Europa League when there's Thomas Frank and Spurs and there's narratives around Chelsea and Man United are doing this. There's more interesting stories for those bigger outlets, let's say, than putting Villa in that conversation. So I won't be surprised come the start of it, depending on what Villa do in terms of their business, that when Cara and Nev are doing their pre-season predictions, that they ain't got Villa anywhere in those top six or dark horse or anything like that. It's they've got everything, and Villa aren't mentioned across any kind of prediction. And that's fine. I don't really care or mind, to be honest. Villa will, as always, let their do the talking. And if we're up and around the top 4 come Christmas, then people will start to go, oh, actually, Villa are still good. Like, Emery's still doing good things there. And that's when we'll start to get a bit more attention. But ultimately, it just doesn't matter. I don't really mind.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, like, people can have their opinions, but I always think the most informed opinions are those who cover the club, those who are fans.
Are you saying your opinion's better than everyone else's?
My opinion's better than Gary Neville's on Aston Villa,
I agree,
as is yours. And that's not me.
Thanks, mate. Are we Cara and Nev? Shall I be Cara?
I don't know where this is going, but
I don't.
Gary Neville's opinion on Man United is much better than mine, and that's fine. Like, if Gary Neville's opinion on Aston Villa was better than ours, then we should not be doing this podcast. Like, he's huge. I don't know why I'm focusing on Gary Neville, but the point being, if people aren't talking about Villa, or even if they are talking about Villa, it's up to you if you want to believe what they say. Like, we've all got our own opinions, haven't we? You can ignore Robbie Savage saying that Villa will finish in 2nd, or if he says they'll finish in 8th. Just his opinion. Like, that's all it is. So, yeah, for me, even, to take this into other realms like Everton or Palace or wherever, I always get a better perspective of what a team's doing or how they've, whatever it may be, by listening to their fans or people who cover the club, like, is their job. So I don't mind about, because this is the kind of this is about now where people start to make their pre-season tables and stuff like that. And we'll have West Ham.
We'll do that for other clubs and be massively wrong, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like, again, West Ham won the window, didn't they, last year? And they're going to finish 7th to be the dark horse for Europe and all these different things. You can even take it a step further and say Palace. I know they got into Europe by winning the FA Cup, and they were a great side. But where did they finish? In the bottom half, I think it was.
12th, I think.
Was it? Yeah. So everyone would be thinking that they were dark horses for Europe. Well, this sounds ridiculous because they got it, but in the league, they weren't. And I think they should have done better.
I think you'll see this, and this is like I said, we will do that. We'll do.
By the way, when I say that our opinion matters more than you can agree with our opinions or not. You can say that, these lads are stupid or blah blah blah. That's fine as long as you back your own opinions and stuff. It's a game of opinions ultimately, but I think ours is more informed because we follow it, and I'm thinking about it when I'm chopping my red onions. So that's where I'm going with it. I'm not saying we're better or whatever. Like, that's absolutely not the point. But yeah. Sorry, Dan.
No, it's fine. We will do, predicting the Premier League 1 to 20. We did it last year. We will do who's going to get relegated, who will be the dark horse, and we'll probably be miles off it because we don't know the other clubs as well as fans of their clubs do. However, you'll see it all the time, and I think this year's kind of prediction will be across the board. Brentford are going to struggle. New manager, lost some players. But ultimately, does that mean anything? Will Brentford struggle? maybe, yeah. But if they don't, it kind of proves the thing of like, well, everyone's just going to go Brentford are in trouble, but then they might not be.
Yeah.
Like last year,
Yeah.
everyone was going to Forest are going to be in trouble. Well, they were in trouble last year, so they will be again. And that didn't happen
I think,
either.
can we quickly like do a who's going to finish above Villa? Like realistically, who could it be? So Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea could. City, that's 4. I mean, you would throw Newcastle into conversation, but I think it'll be pretty level between us and Newcastle, to be honest. So that's 5, and then you've got Tottenham and Man United. Do you think Man United are going to finish above us? Don't know.
I don't think Man United will. Spurs, I think, will be better
in around it.
Yeah, in the top 8 or 9 for sure.
Is there anybody outside the that 8? So the commercial 6 plus Villa and Newcastle that are going to break into it. Don't think Fulham are.
Probably
don't
not.
Think Palace are. Don't
we
think
wouldn't
Forest
have said anything
are.
about Forest last year, though.
We wouldn't have, but it's very kind of rare. I think that happens. That a team come from literally nowhere. For example, who finished down there, West Ham. Are they going to do it? I don't think so. Again, could be wrong because Forest did it. But the point I'm trying to make is there might be 5 teams who you think, yeah, they'll definitely finish above Villa. But firstly, that's never definite, and secondly, okay, so we're going to finish 6th again or compete for 5th. Like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, if you finish in 6th, you're going to be close to 5th come middle April, right? Just as we were this season, and we won 9 of the last 11. So that's why I always kind of reject the things about, there's no way we're going to finish 5th. There's no way we're going to finish 4th. We just don't know. But what we do know is that we're going to be competitive. Like, surely we are going to be. It would take. I'm much more confident we're going to be competitive for those positions than be dragged into kind of like a mid-table battle, because I don't see those other teams finishing above us. I mean, the only other one that could be a dark horse maybe is like an Everton or something, but again, we should be finishing above them. So yeah, it's kind of like a ceiling of get Europe every single season, and I think we can, because I think we're part of a group of 8 teams who are strong. Try and finish as high as you can in that little mini league. If we can make that a mini league, I don't like the fact that it's kind of 6 teams that have so much revenue, but if you got to do what you got to do, if we can be part of that 8 consistently, we're always going to be competing for Europe. And what more can we really ask for apart from obviously winning trophies? And you'll always have access to doing that a few times if you're in Europe. So yeah, don't know. Maybe that's a positive thing to finish on. I don't know.
No, we'll wrap up there. There's one thing I want to mention very quickly, and I've said many times, I'm not going to use this podcast as an advertising platform, but just on the T-shirt, check my social media if you're interested. And there's one comment I have to address because there's 4 words that I can't stand seeing. Fruit of the loom. No, it isn't. If you check social media, the places you can go and look that I can't link, but you know where to go, you'll see the quality is good, trust me. And John knows the same as well, though probably can't say. That'll do for this one. Thanks very much for everyone joining us this lovely Sunday afternoon, although I've had a bit of thunder whilst we're going, so the weather's not as good as it was. But a good chat. I was expecting to do a quick half an hour, maybe touch on Hansa Rosstock and a bit of transfers, and here we are 55 minutes later still going, but it's been good fun. That means we won't do a Q&A on Monday as we normally do, because we're going to talk about everything we just spoke about twice. This is kind of that video. So we'll do something Tuesday or Wednesday in terms of our next big episode. You and I, John, are in the office tomorrow, though, and we're going to be talking about pre-season as a meeting, but we're also going to do a little kind of podcast update as well of what pre-season looks like for you to go over to the States. So we'll share that information with our audience as well. So we'll be back with another video on Monday, a big kind of chunky podcast on Wednesday, and then it'll be over to John in the US to see what he's getting up to, which I'm really looking forward to. It's going to be good fun. So thanks everyone for watching or listening to this episode of the Claret and Blue podcast, and we'll see you again in a couple of days. Bye-bye.